In today's video, we will go through the events of 2007's horror thriller film called 30 Days of Night. Spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment on what your favorite part was, and subscribe to our channel for more. At the beginning of the movie, we see a man staring at a ship harboring to the shore. It's wintertime in Barrow, Alaska. Everyone in the town is preparing for the upcoming polar nights. It is a month-long time when the sun doesn't rise. Barrow Sheriff Eben Oleson and his friend Billy Kitka examine a pile of burnt satellite phones in the snow. Now the town doesn't have access to communication with the outside world. Most people in the town are leaving while others are preparing for the month. On their way home, Eben gets a message from the police station. Someone has killed John Rises' snow dogs. Eben goes to investigate and finds that the dogs have been stabbed repeatedly. Eben's wife Stella works for Alaska's fire department. She's in the town for the day but hasn't told Eben because they are not on good terms. On her way to catch a flight home, she gets into an accident. With no other way out, she calls Eben for help. Eben sends Billy to help Stella. Meanwhile, Billy drives Stella to the airport, but the last flight takes off before she can reach it. The airport will reopen after a month. She is stuck in the town. Eben goes to the police station where he meets his little brother, Jake Oleson. His grandmother Helen works there too. She reports him about vandalism at the Utilidor. At the Utilidor, he meets his friends Carter and Wilson. Someone has destroyed Wilson's helicopter. Eben realizes that someone is trying to cut off every possible means of communication with the outside world. Somewhere else, the town's electrical manager is busy working. He hears noises from outside. As Gus steps outside, several strangers surround him. Scared, he tries to run away, but they attack him before he can. They slowly kill him and suck his blood. As it turns out, the strangers are actually vampires. They have thoroughly planned to attack Barrow for the next 30 days. They cut off the town's electricity. The man from the beginning of the movie is in a diner asking for raw meat and alcohol. When the waitress denies his requests, he tries to attack her. Eben and Stella are there too. As Eben tries to stop the man, he gets progressively violent, so he arrests him. Eben and Stella reach the station with the man. Eben locks him in the cell. Somewhere else, 3 refinery workers are walking home from work when a vampire suddenly drags one of them into a dark alley. The other 2 do not notice him being dragged. After a few seconds, the bloodied body of their friend is thrown in front of them. The girl runs away while the other friend stares at the body. A vampire stands right behind him. Back in the station, Eben interrogates the strange man, but he doesn't speak at all. Soon, the electronics in the station stop working. Eben tries to call Gus, but the phone doesn't work either. The strange man then tells Eben to hide because they are coming. But Eben dismisses him. Right after, the town's electricity goes off and everything goes dark. Eben visits Gus's office to inquire about the electricity. When he gets there, he sees a trail of blood on the snow outside. He follows the trail to find Gus's head cut off from his body. He quickly gets back to the people of the town and tells them to stay inside their homes. Everyone gets into their houses. John and his wife Allie are in their home when suddenly a vampire breaks in. Within seconds, he snatches Allie and runs away. John runs after them to save his wife, but isn't successful. Back in the station, the man attacks Jake. Eben comes in at the right time and shoots his arm. Eben realizes that the man knows something about Gus's murderer, but the man doesn't reveal anything. After that, Eben and Stella set off to look for the murderers themselves. They notice something off in the way and get out of their car. Stella sees something through her binoculars and tells Eben to get inside the car. As they drive away, a vampire chases their car and gets on top of it. Stella somehow manages to drop him off the vehicle and they escape. As they drive, confused, they see several cars burning on the side of the road. They get a call from the station. Helen screams for help on the other end, but the call cuts off midway. When they reach there, the station is a mess. Jake and Helen are nowhere to be found, but the stranger is still inside the cell. He asks Eben to kill him, but doesn't reveal any other information. Then we finally see the faces of vampires. Their leader is named Marlowe. He talks in a foreign language and orders the others to kill everyone. Following the orders, the vampires start killing everyone who comes in their way. Eben and Stella rush to the diner from earlier to investigate. Jake and other survivors are there too. However, Helen was killed by one of them. Eben takes everyone to the attic of a house nearby. As the rest hide, he and Stella go out to look for weapons, but they are attacked by the vampires again. They flip Eben's car and try to drag Stella out. Bo Brower comes to their aid and hits the vampires with his truck. Eben and Stella somehow get in Brower's car and drive back to the house. As they hide in the attic, they hear screams of people being killed outside. Their plan is to go to the store to get food and supplies after a few days. They agree to stay in the attic for a few days and move to the utilidor when they get a chance. Meanwhile, in the station, Marlowe visits the man from earlier and snaps his head to kill him. Back in the attic, they decide to sleep in shifts, ration out their food, and plan their next step later. For 6 days, they remain hidden in the attic. On the 7th day, they notice a girl outside screaming for help. Eben realizes that it is a trap when he sees the vampires on roofs looking at the girl. Eben goes out to save her but watches as the vampires kick and torture the girl. They eventually kill her. As he is about to return, someone calls his name and he notices John hiding in a corner. Eben tries to help John, but he attacks him instead. John has turned into a vampire because his blood got infected when he was trying to save his wife. John tries to bite Eben. When there is no way out, he chops John's head off with an axe. Eben goes back to the attic and falls asleep. Wilson's father has dementia. He tries to run away looking for his dead wife. Wilson and Stella calm him down, but the old man escapes through a window. Wilson runs outside to search for him. Eben wakes up from all the noise and Stella tells him what had happened. One of the vampires comes into the house. Eben and Stella hide. The vampire is almost about to get them, but Wilson's screams distract him. The vampire finds Wilson and kills him. Eben and Stella go back into the attic. Several days pass and the attic has no food left. They decide to run to the store when the next hailstorm occurs. The next day, a snowstorm struck. They carefully walk towards the store. When they reach there, they collect food and supplies. Just then, they see a little girl sucking the blood out of a dead body. The little girl attacks Carter. Jake cuts the little girl's head off. The storm has already stopped, so they cannot leave. They decide to go to the utility in the police station where they can be safe. While talking, they realize that the vampires have attacked during the polar night because the UV rays from the sun affect them. This reminds Jake of a UV light that his grandmother used to grow plants with. Eben decides to run to his grandmother's house to distract the vampires and use the UV light to kill them while others escape to the station. He then runs out screaming with an axe. The vampires hear his screams and run after him. Others run to the police station to hide in the utility room. On their way, they encounter another vampire who kills one of the survivors. Meanwhile, Eben starts a generator in his grandmother's house. He gets ready for the vampires with the UV light. Marlowe orders his girlfriend, Iris, who is also a vampire, to get Eben. But as Iris breaks through the window, Eben shines the UV ray on her face, burning it. Eben then runs out of the back door. The vampires go after him while Marlowe kills Iris. Brower then gets into a JCB and attacks the vampires that are chasing Eben. After a small fight, he runs the JCB into a building and gets all the vampires to come inside. He then lights himself in an explosion. Eben reaches the police station safely. There he finds out that Carter was bitten by a vampire and is turning into one. Carter wants Eben to kill him. They both go into a room where Eben cuts his head off. It is the 27th day. They have enough food to survive for the next few days until the sun rises again. Suddenly, they notice someone from the house across trying to send them a signal by flashing lights. Eben and Stella go to check. They are surprised to see Billy there. It turns out, with no hope left, he has killed his 2 daughters and wife. He was also about to kill himself, but his gun stopped working. Carefully, they take Billy to their hideout. When they reach there, they notice that everyone else is gone. Thinking they might have gone to the utility, Eben, Stella, and Billy head there too. Stella notices a little girl roaming around the snow. A vampire is about to attack her from behind. Stella runs to help her. The vampire then follows them. Eben tells Stella and Billy to run away with the little girl while he distracts the vampire. All 3 of them run away in different directions. Eben somehow makes it to the utility and finds out that Stella and Billy are still not there. While they're talking, Billy gets there, but a vampire comes following him. He attacks them and is about to kill Eben when Billy pushes him into a machine and kills him. But Billy gets his arm into the machine and cuts it. The vampire has bitten Billy and he is about to turn into one of them. Hence, Eben cuts Billy's head off with an axe. After that, Eben tries to talk to Stella through a walkie-talkie, but she doesn't answer. It is the last night of the 30th day now. Eben sees the vampires gathering through a window. Marlowe orders the others to burn the whole town to the ground. Just when Stella replies and tells Eben that she is hiding under a car in the snow, she and the little girl are freezing and cannot survive any longer. Eben notices the car, but the vampires have already broken all the oil pipelines of the town. The oil slowly fills up the streets and moves towards the car. The vampires light the fire, and slowly it starts to take the whole town under it. Eben then takes some of Billy's blood out through an injection and injects it into himself. The survivors look at him, turning into a vampire. The group thinks of killing him, but Jake stops them. Eben then goes out to fight Marlowe. He fights them with much determination, but the vampires overpower him. While they are distracted, Jake tells Stella to run away through a walkie-talkie. Stella stops in her way when she sees Eben being beaten. Eben yells at her to go. Marlowe checks to find out that Eben was a vampire. Eventually, Eben jams his hand through Marlowe's head and kills him. The other vampires run away. Finally, the sun rises and the survivors come out. Eben watches the sunrise with Stella. The movie ends as the sunlight falls onto Eben and he slowly dies in Stella's arms. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel to see more of these movie summaries.